NASA has recently shifted its attention towards Venus following a rediscovered intrigue that dates back to the 1960s involving the potential existence of life on this enigmatic planet. Within NASA's historical records, you'll find references to Venus as a celestial inferno. Around that same era, a fervent space race was underway, and Mars held the spotlight as the primary target. Interestingly, this wasn't a mere coincidence. The Soviet Union was steadfastly committed to dispatching missions to Venus. Despite its forbidding reputation as a life-hostile world, they persevered in this endeavor until the dissolution of their empire. Neil deGrasse Tyson has played a role in illuminating the obscured annals of Soviet Venus missions. Today, we have the privilege of examining declassified photographs captured by the Soviet Union. With the fall of the Soviet Union, not only did global geopolitics shift, but also buried many of their clandestine ventures. The Soviets were renowned for their secrecy, their operation for advanced intelligence agencies, and even their potential involvement in concealing contact with extraterrestrial beings. Before the United States took the helm of most space endeavors, the Soviet Union led the charge. Their primary fascination lay with Venus, or Venera in Russian parlance. The Venera mission spanned from 1961 to 1983, an era when the US was predominantly fixated on lunar exploration. The rationale behind the Soviet Union's intense focus on Venus remains shrouded in ambiguity. Some speculation suggests that they might have contemplated using its surface for military purposes or even harbored ambitions of colonization. Given that these missions unfolded during the Cold War, the Soviets remained cryptic about their true intentions. Intriguingly, much of our understanding of the Soviet Venus missions emanates from recently unveiled, declassified information. Nonetheless, precisely discerning their objectives or the extent to which they attained their clandestine goals remains a daunting challenge. The Soviets embarked on more than just a handful of missions. They dispatched a total of 28 meticulously crafted spacecraft to explore Venus. Remarkably, 13 of these penetrated Venus's unforgiving atmosphere, with 8 successfully landing on its surface. These sophisticated missions catapulted the Soviet Union into a pioneering role in space exploration. In contrast, NASA's emphasis had primarily rested on satellites and technological advancements rather than delving into the prospects of extraterrestrial life. The Soviet space program boasts a multitude of pioneering feats. They were the first to send a probe into the atmosphere of a planet beyond Earth, accomplished the inaugural soft landing on another planet, and initiated the foremost mission to retrieve images and sounds from the surfaces of distant celestial bodies. Despite these groundbreaking accomplishments, their recognition remains somewhat obscure. The Soviet space program was synonymous with secrecy, and following its decommissioning in 1992, a substantial portion of its archival data met an unfortunate fate, either lost or obliterated. This starkly contributes to the elusiveness surrounding the rationale behind their extensive missions to Venus. One conceivable explanation could be rooted in cost effectiveness. Perhaps the Soviet preference for exploring Venus was a testament to their resourceful approach. Nevertheless, they harbored genuine optimism concerning the prospects of rediscovering water, gauging solar radiation intensity, and comprehending the broader environmental dynamics of Venus. Without the succession of space missions to Venus, our comprehension of its extreme climate conditions and formidable atmosphere would have remained substantially limited. Today, many cosmologists harbor doubts regarding Venus's ability to sustain life. Its searing temperatures have the potential to liquefy lead, and water is an exceedingly scarce commodity. Furthermore, Venus boasts an atmospheric pressure a staggering 90 times that of Earth's. However, it is imperative not to disregard the USSR's formidable contribution to the study of Venus. To overlook this would be tantamount to censoring a pivotal chapter of history. Soviets, the exploration of Venus remained a critical endeavor, even if it primarily served as a means of keeping pace in the space race. While the Soviets did contemplate venturing towards more hospitable planets like Mars, the associated costs posed a formidable obstacle. The vast disparities in distance from Earth to various celestial bodies played a pivotal role in determining these financial constraints. Venus, on average, is a mere 40 million kilometers away, whereas Mars looms at a formidable distance of approximately 250 million kilometers. There exist rumors that the Soviet missions encountered technical setbacks and issues with reliability. Their spacecraft were not ideally equipped for traversing vast astronomical distances, and communication often faltered. This potentially elucidates the Soviet space program's proclivity for shorter, more proximate missions to Venus. It is imperative to contextualize the era of the space race when discussing the missions to Venus. The United States was not even on the space map when the Soviet program inaugurated the epochal artificial satellite, Sputnik 1, in 1957. Post-World War II, both nations ardently sought to assert their dominance across all domains, including space exploration. The Soviet space program demonstrated remarkable alacrity and efficacy in its endeavors. In 1958, U.S. President Dwight Eisenhower endorsed the National Aeronautics and Space Act, which culminated in the establishment of NASA in 1959. Since its inception, NASA has evolved into a formidable space agency, playing an instrumental role in an array of pioneering space missions. The Soviet Union achieved an iconic milestone in 1961 by sending Yuri Gagarin, the first human, into space, a feat that instantly elevated him to international acclaim. In response, the United States embarked on a fervent pursuit to close the gap. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy issued a resolute pledge that the U.S. would dispatch a man to the moon before the close of the decade. This resounding commitment eventually engendered the Apollo program, culminating in the momentous moon landing in 1969. Even as the United States shifted its focus towards lunar exploration, the Soviet Union persisted with its missions to Venus. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, a series of Venera missions were launched with the objective of scrutinizing the surface and atmosphere of Venus. Some of these missions achieved success, while others encountered adversity. One of the most iconic achievements within the Venera program occurred in 1970 when Venera 7 executed a triumphant soft landing. This milestone marked the first instance of transmitting data from the surface of a celestial body other than Earth, endowing us with invaluable insights into the unforgiving conditions on Venus. Their missions to Venus posed formidable technological challenges, and several of them grappled with complications. Spacecraft malfunctioned or contact with mission control was lost. Nevertheless, the Soviets tenaciously persevered, catalyzing significant strides in the realm of space exploration. In the early 1980s, the Soviet Union initiated the Vega program, dispatching two spacecraft, Vega 1 and Vega 2, with the dual purpose of scrutinizing Venus and observing Halley's Comet. These missions furthered our understanding of Venus and contributed significant data to the scientific community. As the 1980s neared their conclusion, the Soviet Union grappled with economic hardships and seismic political shifts. The program, akin to many other facets of the nation, underwent a profound metamorphosis. Eventually, in 1991, the Soviet Union dissolved, marking the closure of a significant chapter in history. Presently, Venus remains a compelling focal point for scientists and space agencies worldwide. Despite the dwindling prospect of finding life on Venus due to its inhospitable conditions, studying the planet continues to provide invaluable insights into broader planetary evolution. In recent years, NASA and other space agencies have embarked on missions to Venus aimed at comprehensively exploring its atmosphere, surface, and geological history. The study of Venus remains pivotal in advancing our understanding of the diverse array of celestial bodies within our solar system and the broader cosmos.